All right, so get this. Thailand might be on the verge of, like, the biggest reduction in statelessness ever.
Oh.
Yeah, we're talking potentially 500,000 people gaining legal status.
Huge.
Huge, right? We've got government announcements. We've got UN reports, news articles, even some heartwarming social media posts to unpack here.
Amazing.
So, yeah, buckle up.
It's really remarkable. And to even grasp the impact, I think we have to start with what it means to be stateless. You're not recognized as a citizen by any country.
Right.
Imagine the barriers that creates.
Seriously, can you imagine navigating the world without that basic legal identity? We take it for granted, but nearly 600,000 people registered with the Thai government are living that reality right now.
It's a staggering number.
It is, but here's where things get exciting.
Okay, all right.
Prime Minister Paetongtarn Shinawatra's government just greenlit these new guidelines on October 29th, 2024.
Wow.
They're designed to fast-track legal status and a path to citizenship for almost 500,000 people.
That's incredible.
It's a huge step.
It is.
Okay, color me impressed. But who exactly are we talking about here? Who benefits from this?
So we've got two main groups. First, over 335,000 individuals, many from ethnic minorities and groups who've been in Thailand for ages, will be eligible for permanent resident status.
Okay.
That's a major stepping stone towards full citizenship.
It's not just a piece of paper, right? That status opens up so many doors.
Absolutely. And then the second group is over 142,000 children born in Thailand.
Wow.
Who will now have a path to Thai citizenship.
Oh.
Think about the impact on families and their futures.
Yeah, that's got to be game-changing. Do you have any examples of specific communities that this will affect?
One that comes to mind is the Moken people, a seafaring group that the Thai government recognizes as their own. They were hit hard by the 2004 tsunami. Wow. And have struggled to access full rights ever since.
Oh, wow.
This initiative specifically includes them.
Wow, talk about giving people a sense of belonging after such hardship. It makes this whole policy shift feel so much more real.
Exactly, and that seems to be at the heart of these guidelines, inclusion and acknowledging the contributions of all these diverse communities within Thailand.
So it's not just about numbers, it's about real lives.
Yeah.
But how are they actually making this happen? What's changing in the process itself?
Well, for one thing, speed.
Okay.
Applications for permanent residency used to take a whopping 270 days to process.
Oh my gosh.
Now it's down to a mere 5 days.
5 days, that's mind-blowing. Talk about cutting red tape.
And the same goes for citizenship applications for those born stateless in Thailand, down from 180 days to just 5.
Okay, that's some serious efficiency. But I imagine there's more to it than just speed, right? What about the actual requirements to qualify?
They've been adjusted to be more practical and relevant. Applicants need to show loyalty to Thailand, good behavior, no criminal record, and no proof of citizenship elsewhere. Makes sense, right?
Yeah, it seems like a balanced approach, making the process smoother while still maintaining important safeguards.
Precisely. And you know who's been singing Thailand's praises? The UN, specifically the UNHCR, calling this a historic moment.
So Thailand's not just quietly doing its thing, it's making waves on the world stage. What's behind that recognition?
Well, it's a combination of things, really. The sheer scale of this policy shift is unprecedented. We're talking potentially the largest single reduction of statelessness ever recorded.
Yeah.
And then there's the speed, those drastic reductions in processing time.
Right.
I mean, that's unheard of.
Yeah, so they're not just talking the talk, they're walking the walk and doing it fast.
Exactly. And let's not forget the targeted approach. They're focusing on specific vulnerable groups like the Moken and addressing long-standing inequalities. The UN sees this as a model for other countries to follow.
So it sounds like Thailand is stepping up as a global leader in this whole fight against statelessness. And they're a founding member of the Global Alliance to End Statelessness, right? What exactly does that involve?
It's a coalition of countries dedicated to tackling statelessness, sharing best practices, and supporting each other's efforts. Thailand's active role in this alliance shows their commitment goes beyond their borders.
So it's like a global support system for countries tackling this complex issue. But before we go too far down that road, can we bring it back to the human level for a second? What does all of this actually mean for those individuals gaining legal status in Thailand?
It's life-changing. Think about the simple things we take for granted. Traveling freely within Thailand, accessing education and healthcare, getting a job without limitations. These are all possibilities now.
Right. It's about more than just practicalities, though, isn't it? It's about dignity and belonging.
Absolutely. It's about finally being recognized and having your rights protected. There's a powerful quote from Mifa Azong, a former stateless person who now heads the local community network in Thailand. She said, "We are committed to showing our loyalty to Thailand and helping to build this country further."
There's such a sense of pride and belonging in those words. It really drives home the emotional impact of this policy shift.
And that's not all. Remember that ceremony in Chiang Rai on December 1st? 72 people from different ethnic groups received their Thai ID cards, a moment filled with tears of joy and relief.
Okay, now I'm getting goosebumps. It sounds like such a powerful validation of their identity.
It was truly moving, and it highlighted the collaborative efforts between the Thai government, the UN, and various NGOs to help these communities navigate the process.
It sounds like a truly holistic approach, but I'm curious, are there any potential downsides to this rapid change? Could this create unforeseen challenges or vulnerabilities?
That's a great question. While the speed is impressive, it's crucial to ensure the application process remains rigorous and that safeguards are in place to prevent any oversights or potential exploitation. It's a balancing act between efficiency and thoroughness.
Yeah, that makes sense. You don't want to compromise security just for the sake of speed. And speaking of the bigger picture, we've talked a lot about the positives, but are there any potential downsides for Thailand as a whole?
Well, some critics argue that such a large influx of newly recognized citizens could strain resources and potentially lead to social tensions.
Oh, interesting. So it's not all sunshine and rainbows, then. Are these concerns valid, in your opinion?
It's important to acknowledge these concerns and address them proactively, but I think the potential benefits outweigh the risks. The Thai government has already announced plans to invest in infrastructure and social programs to support the integration of new citizens.
So they're not just granting legal status and hoping for the best, they're actively planning for a successful transition.
Exactly. They're committed to making this work, both for the individuals and for Thai society as a whole.
Okay, so Thailand is tackling this head-on and potentially paving the way for other countries. But stepping back even further, why should we care about statelessness in the first place? What's the big deal?
That's the core question, isn't it? Statelessness is a fundamental human rights issue. It's about dignity, belonging, and ensuring everyone has the opportunity to live a life free from discrimination and marginalization.
So it's not just a legal technicality, it's about basic human rights.
Precisely. When someone is denied legal recognition, they're denied access to education, healthcare, employment, even the right to vote.
Wow, it's like a domino effect, impacting every aspect of their life. And I imagine it perpetuates cycles of poverty and inequality.
You got it. Statelessness can trap individuals and families in a cycle of vulnerability and exclusion. This limits their potential and hinders their contributions to society.
It's like they're stuck in a system designed to keep them on the margins. So from a societal perspective, tackling statelessness isn't just the right thing to do, it's a smart thing to do.
Absolutely. When we empower stateless individuals, we're not only upholding their rights, but also unlocking their potential to contribute to our communities and economies.
We've focused a lot on Thailand's efforts, but what about the rest of the world? What can other countries learn from Thailand's example? I mean, Thailand set a pretty high bar here. What are some key takeaways other nations could apply to their own contexts?
Well, first off, Thailand shows us that bold, decisive action is possible. They haven't just been tinkering around the edges. They've implemented significant legal reforms and streamlined processes to make a real difference.
So it's about having that political will to make big changes happen. But what about the more practical side of things?
Thailand's collaborative approach is a great example for others. They've partnered with the UN, NGOs, and even local communities to make this happen. It's not just a top-down government initiative, it's a collective effort.
Makes sense. You need everyone on board to create lasting change. But let's flip the script for a second. Are there any potential pitfalls other countries should be aware of?
Definitely. One challenge Thailand has faced, and that others might encounter too, is ensuring equitable access to these new pathways to citizenship. It's important to make sure marginalized communities, especially those in remote areas, aren't left behind.
So even with the best intentions, there's always a risk of unintended consequences or groups falling through the cracks.
Exactly. And that's where ongoing monitoring and evaluation are crucial. Thailand's commitment to tracking the impact of these policies and making adjustments as needed is something other countries can learn from.
It's like that old saying, measure twice, cut once.
Yeah.
You need to keep a close eye on things to ensure everything's working as intended.
Couldn't agree more. And ultimately, ending statelessness requires a global shift in mindset. We need to move away from viewing statelessness as someone else's problem and recognize our shared responsibility in creating a world where everyone belongs.
It's a powerful reminder that change starts with each of us. Okay, so we've explored the complexities of statelessness, delved into Thailand's groundbreaking efforts, and even considered the broader global implications. But what's the one big takeaway you want our listeners to walk away with today?
I'd say Thailand has shown us that ending statelessness is not some utopian dream. It's an achievable goal. It requires commitment, collaboration, and a willingness to challenge the status quo.
It's inspiring, right? It's a call to action for all of us.
Absolutely. We can all play a part, whether it's raising awareness, supporting organizations working on the front lines, or advocating for change within our own communities.
So what can our listeners do to learn more and get involved?
We'll be sure to include links to some fantastic resources in the show notes, including information about the UNHCR, the Global Alliance to End Statelessness, and organizations working directly with stateless communities in Thailand and around the world.
Perfect. We'll equip you with the knowledge, and you can take it from there. It's been an incredible deep dive into a topic that often goes unnoticed. Thank you for joining us on this journey of discovery.
It's been my pleasure. And remember, every single person deserves to have their existence recognized and their rights protected.
Well said. Until next time, keep those curiosity engines running. See you on our next deep dive adventure.